What's going on, Sooner Nation? Welcome back, Sooner Surge. Before we get the start of this video, please hit the subscribe button, like this video, join up so you can be a part of the Sooner Surge. Also, check out the Fan Stop, thefanstop.com. Great official licensed merchandise that you can check out. You can sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club, 10% off your first 3 months if you use code SURGE. Jackson, a little softball video as the Sooners get the W on this Sunday afternoon with a score of 8-1 over Wichita State. Jackson, just tell us how you were at the game. Just kind of tell us some thoughts from your perspective here.
Well, I'm going to start off with Sam Landry, Jason. I think that she really pitched a phenomenal game. Outside of the one changeup. She hung over the middle of the plate, and Wichita State, they made her pay by hitting a home run. And this is, a Wichita State team. They're not a bad team. They're a solid team in the American Conference. So Oklahoma, I know this is maybe not the best at competition they're playing, but earlier to start the season, whenever they weren't playing the best competition, they weren't necessarily dominating like you're starting to see them do now, and I think that was good. But I thought that Sam Landry, she looked really good in the 5 and the third inning. She pitched. Audrey Lowry, she came into the game, and Audrey Lowry, man, she has some gas, dude. She throws hard. She the potential's there. It's really hard to hit. Really, I mean, with how hard she throws it, Jason, it's tough to hit her. And then I thought that Tia Malloy, she played her best game of the season by far, played phenomenal. She got the start in the DP spot, so she had a phenomenal game. Ella Parker, Cassidy Pickering, they continue to make their impacts felt at the plate. I thought that Abby Dayton, she didn't necessarily have her best day, but, I think that she definitely is going to be a key cog in which Oklahoma has to have down the line, Jason. And I thought that Isabella Emmerling, too, she hit, well, it was 2 home runs, I believe. So she had, or it might have been 1, and then she had
1 home run, I believe.
Yeah, and then she had hit off the top of the wall as well.
Yeah.
Was the 2nd home run. But she had a phenomenal day. And you're starting to see some of these players starting to find their groove, get a little bit hot at this point in the season. And what is just the start of the season for Oklahoma.
Yeah, and, just through this weekend, I mean, obviously another great performance over the weekend. Pitching-wise, I mean, Sam Landry, you mentioned it, but, 10 Ks, just another dominant performance when you look at strikeouts. And, you can go down the list. Sam Landry, Bella Smith, Kirsten Deal, Audrey Lowry, Peyton, I mean, keep going. They got a lot of pitchers that have a lot of stuff and can throw a lot of different things. Sam Landry, she's unique, I think, with spin and everything. And you can just tell, I mean, she's been confusing batters all over the place lately, and great performance by her. Good to see. And then the bats, you mentioned the ones that are just had great outings today. I thought it was really good performance all around, Jackson. You get the 8-1 win. I mean, really through this weekend, get kind of what I guess you could expect from this team. I will say that today's attendance, weather was great for this Sunday afternoon. I think they announced over 4,300 there today. Just a great fan support today, great attendance, and the Sooners put out a great effort in the 8-1 win.
Yeah, no. With Isabella Emmerling, Jason, I'm going to go back to her for a second. I think, I'm not at all going to compare it to Kenzie Hansen because Hansen was a 1 of 1. But I think defensively what Emmerling does behind the plate is phenomenal. You don't ever have to worry about many balls getting around her or behind her or anything, and I think that's super good. She has the experience, and something I was really watching for today was to see the comfortability that she had at the plate, and she looks really comfortable up there. Now, once again, she's not Kenzie Hansen. No one is Kenzie Hansen. And what Emmerling is, I think she's going to be just a solid, steady piece behind the plate. I know we talked about at the beginning of the season, well, would we maybe see Corey Hicks at a point get an opportunity behind the plate? But, I think it's pretty clear and obvious that Emmerling's way ahead there, especially defensively with how much she's been playing. And Sydney Barker, I don't know why she didn't get to start today with how good she played yesterday. I know it was Gabby Garcia in that spot. But I think that Sydney Barker, I think that down the line, if she can continue to hit as well as she did yesterday, Jason, that she might find herself starting in that spot for the majority of the season. With just, really they're kind of trying to see, is it Gabby Garcia in that spot? Is it Sydney Barker? Now they might have them play based upon matchups as well, but I think that Sydney Barker, I wanted to see her get the start again today. She didn't, but with how good that she's been playing offensively, I think she's going to get a lot more opportunity this year.
Yeah, and it was good to see Nelly get the RBI single there and just down the line. I love watching this team when they're doing what they're doing right now. You talk about Emmerling when they're going with pitches and hitting the opposite field. I mean, you saw it
Yeah.
multiple times today. Players going with the pitch. That's usually a good sign. That's usually a sign that you're seeing the ball well, and your average is going to be up because you're not just trying to yank it down the line or pull it. You're going with the pitch, and OU seems to be doing that right now. Emmerling, like you said, the one off the top of the wall and the home run. I mean, had a great day. You mentioned Sydney Barker, you mentioned Ella Parker, Cassie. I mean, there's so many weapons on this team, Jackson. And I think what's going to be interesting is as they get here closer, they're getting closer to SEC play down the road here. It's going to be SEC play. Will Patty, like you mentioned with Barker, will they go with more of a lineup that they say is kind of like, oh, this is our everyday lineup?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll do that, Jackson. I know you mentioned Barker. I think Patty's going to just kind of, I mean, if you look at last year, she changed it up all the time. And I think that's just what she's going to continue to do. I think it's kind of a good thing in some aspect too, because it doesn't really breed like comfortability at the, like I'm always going to be in the one hole. You don't know, maybe she's changing, it's just keep you on your toes. And I like it. And you can't argue with it. 4 in a row. So back to back. So great to see, great performance this weekend. I'd love to see Nelly really get in a groove here and get going.
I agree. Yeah, and I think something to me that continues to stand out, I think I maybe said this, it was after the first series in which they played, but just how good defensively this team is. Because sometimes a lot of people are going to forget because they just got so accustomed to winning, but they were replacing players like Jada Coleman, Tiara Jennings, Riley Boone, Alyssa Brito on the field. Now, I know today they had 2 errors. That's not something ideally you want to have happen, but I think defensively, overall, this team, they look really comfortable, look really connected. You don't see players hesitating. You see players being aggressive. And I think that defensively, that might be, while this team is struggling offensively, potentially at points, just because of how young they are still, that defensively they'll be able to make some plays like we're accustomed to seeing the Oklahoma teams do to get them that momentum back.
Yeah, and so there you have it, guys. Another great performance for the Sooners this weekend. And just keep an eye out on for the rankings that come out this week. I believe OU will be number 1 again, based off the Texas loss earlier this week. So I would look for OU to be number 1. How long will they stay number 1? That's the question to watch for. When will they lose their first game? That's another question to watch for. All things that we'll be talking about as the season gets going even further into the season. Appreciate you watching this video. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate it very much. Have a great day.